Hello everyone, welcome to our Rhash-Algo channel. In this video, we are going to talk about Python input and output, which means input is nothing but what we give as an input to the program and output is what we get out of the program. This is Rajesh Paleru if you don't know me and if you want to follow me, and the link is given at the bottom of the screen. Stay tuned. What are input and output? Input is nothing but how we give information to the program. Just like, for example, if a program while it is getting executed, if it is looking for some specific input, for example, let's say it is looking for some name or maybe it is looking for some number. At that times, we have to provide the input while the program is getting executed. This is nothing but provided as input. Output is nothing but what we printed on the console or maybe returned back from a specific function, and the specific returned value will be utilized in other program section. That value will be displayed on the screen, maybe sent to the file or maybe sent to the some network communication system. It depends on the situation, depends on the necessity. That's how the output designates. Okay, let's go into some examples and understand more on these concepts. Okay, let's take some example. I will open command prompt and I will give you some example so that you will be able to understand. Let's go into the Python in the IDE. Okay, now to get how it will be taken from the console, for example, input is one of the built-in function which I will be using to take the input from the console. Okay, let's see with an example. Enter name. Okay, I'm putting a message here, so it asks me to enter the name. It's like a message. The value that I'm putting here is like a message. So now I am providing the value. Okay, now what happened? The value which I provided here is stored into variable a. It's nothing but identifier, right, as we learned from the previous sections. Okay, now if I try to print that value a, see, the value is taken and assigned to a and it's taken as string value. This is one of the key thing that you have to observe. Let's say if I am reading some integer value, some number is a variable, and input enter number, number. Okay, now what it is saying, enter number. I am value is 45. Okay, now what happened? So number is, if you observe this carefully, the value assigned to number variable or identifier is a string value. The reason is input by default takes any integer or any string value which we have entered from the console as a string value. It doesn't mean that we entered integer value here. It doesn't take that as integer. It always takes it as a string value. So now if I want to take this as integer value, what should I do? So only simple way is that typecast that to int. Very simple. 45. Now number, see, I don't get single quotes here. It's very clear, it's an integer value. So if I want to see the type of it, it's int. Okay, it's very clear, right? Yeah, now let's move on, guys, and let's see some examples with some program. I just wanted to introduce you some program like sound.py, and with this program I will be giving you one more scenario, one more example. Let's take name, let's take the like this, first underscore name equal to input enter first name. Let's copy paste so that no need to spend much time. Second name. Okay, now what I am trying to do is full name. Actually, it should be snake case. As I mentioned in my previous sections, naming convention should be meaningful and should follow certain constraints, rules, right? That's why I'm following snake case. I should not be giving something like this, full name. I can try, I can give that way. But what is the approach that I have followed earlier? I followed snake case. So the same thing I have to follow now also, right? Naming should be consistent, everything should be consistent, guys. Okay, so now if I try to print full name, code name, it will work. So what happened here is I'm trying to concatenate these two strings. Okay, so first name. Okay, let me run that program and then we can go through that. First name or hash algo. So what happened, it printed as r hash algo. Okay, so space is appended along with first name and last name. So first name plus second name and then a space. Okay, this is how it is printed. Now let's move on, guys. Okay, here the example talks about a simple calculator. Now what we looked at is a concatenation. Both are similar, but here only the difference is that we are typecasting the values which we entered here, nothing but integer values. Okay, and we need to talk about output also, right? So let's do that. Okay, for example, if I want to print number here, what should I do? Print number, like that I have to do, right? That is the one of the way that I have to do with the output. So that way I should be able to print the value which I need on the screen. For example, in this example I am printing full name by using print, right? So the same thing is mentioned here. So use print function to print some value. For example, if I want to display some concatenated value, let's say in this example I am not concatenating. Okay, I am not concatenating and I am not creating any separate variable. Okay, I wanted to do the same thing within this single statement, within this print statement itself. So how can I do that? For that I will be using f strings. Okay, so for example like this, hello, within curly braces I will be using first name, and within the curly braces again I will be using the second name. Okay, so let me run the program. Rhash-Algo. See, I got that. Rhash-Algo. You just delved into Python. Okay. Okay, so how do we get formatted strings? Okay, let's see that also. For example, let me clear the screen first. For example, if I have, let's take pi equal to 3.14. Let's give more decimals so that it's easy for me to showcase with more example, some dot f notation. Okay, for example, if I want to print this value, f formatted string, I am using formatted string. Okay, value of pi is, okay, what I am doing here is I am just giving the variable. Okay, I am just giving the variable within the curly braces. Okay, so then what's happened here is it is printing the value as it is. Okay, now what I am doing is I am trying to reduce the decimals. Okay, for that what I did was, after the variable name pi I gave colon. Okay, and how many decimals I wanted to print. For example, in this case I am giving .2, which means I am looking for to print only the 2 decimal values. For example, if I give .3, it will print me 3 decimals. So like that. Okay, don't get confused, it's very simple. Okay, so for example if I want to print 2 decimals, I should be giving dot 2. Okay, that's how, guys. Okay, now let's move on. For example, if I want to print both integer and number, how would I do that? Okay, let's do that. I will have some example for that also. Okay, so that it will be easy for you. Pi. Okay, age equal to, I will be typecasting that, don't worry. Enter age, name equal to, enter name. So with this ChatGPT, Copilots and everything, my life became easy. I don't need to type everything, guys. So only stuff is, I just need to tell it what I wanted to do. Here I gave age, right? So as soon as I gave age, it's asking me what I am looking for. Okay, that's enough about GenAI stuff. We have a different session, different series for that. Let's not dive into that now. Okay, let's stick to the Python. Okay, let me run this program, Python 8.py. Okay, now it's asking me age, enter your name. Okay, see, it's printing the message as expected here. Okay, that's the thing. Here what I'm doing is, I'm basically taking input with both age and name, and I am doing typecasting. Okay, and by using f strings I am printing the final message. Okay, that's pretty much with that. And that's one of the way of displaying the result on the screen. There is a different way of output, which is nothing but sending the content to a file. So let me show you some example for that. For example, with open 1.txt as f dot write hello world. Same thing I will be doing for reading also. With open let me run that Python 9.py. As soon as I run the program, I should be getting 1.txt here. So there is some issue. Let me see what that issue is. Okay, I didn't give the context here. So what I am trying to do is dot slash. Generally, it should create the file. Now let me debug this for you guys. No such file or directory. So it is saying double. So I will be giving the mode also. Mode is nothing but for which mode I am trying to open the file. In this case, I am opening the file for write mode. So will it work if I give like that? Yes, it worked. The reason is, earlier by default it's trying to open in the read mode. That's the reason it was unable to write the content into that file. But here I gave the write mode explicitly, telling that open this file in the write mode and write this content into that file. This is the file created. Okay, and in these lines, in these two lines, I am opening the file in the read mode and reading the content from that file. So that's the thing happened here. So two operations happened here. One is opening the file in the write mode and writing the content to that file, and opening the file in the read mode and reading the content from that file. Okay, these are simple operations, but in real world scenario we won't be having these kind of simple scenarios. These are just for demonstration purposes, guys. Okay, that's pretty much from my end. And we have used input, print and file operations and f strings to do all of these input and output operations. That's pretty much from my end. And if you want to get more updates from my side, stay tuned to my channel. Thanks so much, guys.